Hi, I am Allie Camilletti, and you are listening to Snack Leadership. I will be talking about everything leadership, broken down into bite-sized pieces. You will hear what different leadership skills look like in organizations and how they can rise teams up or take them down. I help leaders build resilience and improve performance by bringing awareness to opportunity behaviors in my business. Spark your mindset. I provide leadership and sales coaching, as well as team building and guest speaking. My hope is for you to feel inspiration and to create a spark in your mindset. Hi everyone. Today we are talking about connection. Human connection is a deep bond that's formed between people when they feel seen and valued. During an authentic human connection, people exchange positive energy with one another and build trust. Human connection makes you feel heard and understood and gives you a sense of belonging. Whew, what a great topic for today. Here we are talking about connection and the importance of connection. We've already had a few podcasts that build up to this piece of connection, talking about gossip in the workplace and how that is a false form of connection. Then we've talked about our values, all of these pieces that are going to come into this podcast today. Now, with that being said, Forbes had some data that I thought was interesting. There was a study by Cigna of 20,000 Americans highlighting the cost of loneliness. And with the 15% average engagement score of employees worldwide, ignoring the human need of belonging possess serious business risks. Not really surprised. For example, Gallup research shows that only 2 out of 10 U.S. employees strongly agree to having a best friend at work. But if that ratio increased to 6 in 10, organizations could realize 36% fewer safety incidences, 7% more engaged customers, and 12% higher profit. Bottom line, when there's belonging, there's engagement, and when there's engagement, there's productivity. Now, I think about just the best friend at work scenario, and I will say some of the closest friends that I have, I met through my career and through work. Those people are people that I'm still close to today. And so that is definitely a real thing. A strong culture is one where there's trust, connection, and belonging, among more. Without trust, you don't connect with colleagues. And without connection, it's only a matter of time before any sense of belonging to that employer dissipates and you start looking for a job elsewhere. Likely with a competitor. I've watched it happen where people did not feel a really solid level of trust in the organization early on when starting at a company, and they were not happy. And there were conversations of like, I'm not sure I'm meant to be here. This just does not connect for me. So one of the best ways to gauge whether there's connection or not is to look at your meetings. Do the right conversations take place during those meetings? Or do people wait for the meeting after the meeting so they can get the real work done? If it's the latter, then you might want to consider strategies for building trust. One is leave work at work. Create and enforce a social norm that says weekends are off limits for work, period, no exceptions. If there's one exception, there'll be 2 exceptions. So either create the norm or don't. Somebody will always be asking for just one more thing. Now, it depends on your type of work. In hospitality, we work on the weekends. But if there is the availability for you to say, when your days are off, no checking your email, no responding to emails. I do not expect a response. Set that standard. And then lead by example. There is a quote about culture from Larry Bossidy who said, "The behavior of a business's leaders is ultimately the behavior of the organization. As such, it's the foundation of the culture. Remember that leadership isn't about position, tenure, or rank. It's about the willingness to exercise value. If you want to create more connection and more belonging in your culture, lead the conversation. State any observations you see during that meeting, such as, "I'm noticing that we're not as far along in the agenda as we intended. What do we need to do differently to be as productive as we want to be?" The power of this question is twofold, in that it creates situational awareness and sets the stage for more candor. If business is about growing relationships, then connection is at the root. There was a blog from Jostle, and they talk about connection in the workplace and how important it is. And they say connection is perhaps the most crucial component in building a productive and efficient workplace, because connected teams drive collaboration, nurture healthy working relationships, and promote knowledge sharing. The more connected we are as colleagues, the more efficient our workplace will be. What do we mean by workplace connection? Connection and connectedness can mean a variety of things to different people. For some, a connected team means that all team members are on the same page. Technologically, each taking advantage of the latest collaboration software to get work done. For others, it means a team that has deep emotional connection with each other and operates more like a family. Say your team is comprised of experts in specific fields whose projects rarely intersect with another. Each team member works independently on their projects and doesn't really have a need or reason to work collaboratively. This is a team that might be extremely efficient and productive, but might also be atomized, disconnected, and lacking a sense of cohesion, of purpose. There are many ways to approach this problem. Do you force people to collaborate on projects that might not really suit their expertise, solely to encourage connection? Probably not. One approach is to encourage folks to gain understanding of each other in small ways. This could be informal chats or meetings between coworkers. Even encouraging people to ask each other what they're working on is a huge step in the right direction. You could also try more formal shadowing sessions where coworkers get together to explain the specifics of their role or a project they're working on, describe a problem they've encountered and something they're excited about. This illustrates the power of relating to someone else's role and perspective. It doesn't involve forcing team members to act a particular way or fit a specific mold or connectedness. Rather, it's about facilitating ways of building connections organically over time. It's a learning experience because it involves finding out what projects, goals, or values connect with someone else. Needless to say, empathy plays a major role in making this happen. Early on, we talked about doing some type of survey to gauge connection in organizations. And one that I use is the Tiger survey, right? It hits on trust, it hits on empathy, hits on risk, all of those really deep areas that apply to connectedness. So, why does connection matter? I know what you're thinking. If the team is still efficiently producing good work, is there a problem if it's disconnected in other ways? Do people need to be connected? As it turns out, connection matters a lot. As we started off with, people who feel connected to what they do for a living, who believe in and align themselves with their company's values, mission, and purpose. And do those around them care about doing great work? They're the type of employee who can quickly become a culture champion across your entire organization, but only if you're aware of their connection with those values. Similarly, a coworker's excitement about an idea or upcoming project, it's contagious. If you can't relate to an employee, you'll never find out about what it is that excites them about their work and what types of projects they'd be best suited for in the future. More importantly, you won't be able to help them spread their excitement. Highlighting someone's passion about their work is only possible if you've developed a connection to that work yourself, even if it's just a surface level familiarity. One thing to remember, not everyone needs or wants connection in the workplace, or if they do, it's to varying degrees, and that's perfectly reasonable. Connection shouldn't be forced upon anyone, but it can be encouraged through small acts of reaching out and by creating opportunities to learn about unique perspectives. So here's what you can do. What this looks like on your team will depend on a lot of factors, but here are just a few takeaways if you're trying to build a more connected workplace. First, engage your people without pretenses. Your people's excitement about a particular project or attachment to your organization's values might fluctuate week to week, so it's important not to put them into a box. If they've expressed excitement or connection to a specific type of work, offer that work to them the next time it comes around, but don't assume they'll always be willing. And then interact frequently, even if nothing comes out of it. It won't be fruitful every time you reach out to your people or coworkers to try to relate to them. Not every one-on-one is going to be productive and informative. Nevertheless, continue to express an interest in what they're working on and learn how you can help support them. I have a leader I've been working with who implemented a learning library in his office because he wanted to create more connection with team members. And he found great success in this. People coming in, getting a book, allowed him an avenue to touch base and be like, hey, how's it going with the book? What are you learning? And he hasn't read all of them, but he's read some of them, and it allows him to relate and create connection with those employees. A beautiful, beautiful way as a leader to really find a different way of connecting with your coworkers. I think it's awesome. Lastly, if no one's connecting to your values, it's time for them to change. Corporate values are often mocked as cynical and self-serving buzzwords. If your people aren't connecting with your organizational values and bringing them to life each day at work, it's time to consider finding out why that is. You can't force people to connect emotionally to buzzwords. Find out what people care about at your company, what they value, and put together a list that reflects that. Be open to their values and not just staying in that box of, nope, these are our company values, this is what we do. Oftentimes we can look at our company values and look at other people's values, and they will play off of each other. And sometimes the employees don't realize that. So opening that door. I leave you with a quote by Brene Brown. Connection is the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. Thank you for tuning in to Snack Leadership. I hope you felt inspiration, motivation, and felt your mindset spark. Snack Leadership is recorded and produced by myself, Ali Camilletti, and music by Shireen Amini.